Whenever we make generalizations on the basis of our experience, or whenever we make claims about the future, that is, the way the future will be, we're employing the principle of induction. And Russell has pointed out that the principle of induction is kind of just hanging out there. What do I mean by that? He says, in the beginning of chapter 7, on our knowledge of general principles, we saw in the preceding chapter that the principle of induction, while necessary to the validity of all arguments based on experience, is itself not capable of being proved by experience. That is, if we say the principle of induction as it's spelled out in a technical way in the previous chapter, or just in an informal way, saying that the way things have happened in the past is a reliable guide to the way things will be in the future, something like that, we can see that there's what we basically said is that our experience of the past is a reliable guide. And why do we think that? Well, because we think that the principle of induction is true. That is a circularity in any attempt to establish the principle of induction. To prove it, we would have to make use of it in order to prove it, and that would be illegitimate. So one of the things you can say then is that the principle of induction cannot be proved on the basis of experience. So he continues, in these characteristics, the principle of induction does not stand alone. There are a number of other principles which cannot be proved or disproved by experience, but are used in arguments which start from what is experienced. So, in this chapter, Russell introduces a number of general principles, but it's very important to note that they are different from the principle of induction, or they're different from any principle which is based upon the principle of induction. For instance, I would say that one of the things that I think I know inductively is that no dogs can talk. I would say that there are no talking dogs. But what does that really mean, and what is it based on? You might say that what I mean when I say there are no talking dogs is just I have never seen a dog which can talk. But that, of course, leaves open the possibility that I could come across a talking dog. That is, when I say there are no talking dogs, I'm making a certain claim about what there is in the world based upon my past experience, but I realize that my past experience of dogs is limited. That is, that there may be a talking dog out there, or there may be a dog in the future which can talk. And although I'd be incredibly surprised if I came across a talking dog, I can't rule it out as a bare possibility. Well, are all generalizations like that? That is, are all of our notions of general truths like that, like there are no talking dogs? That is, are they merely probable? In Russell's mind, no. That is, the principle of induction, or any generalization based upon the principle of induction, cannot be established by experience. There are other principles that cannot be established by experience either, but they have a different status. And if you look at what he immediately goes on to say in chapter 7, that might become clearer. He says some of these principles have even greater evidence than the principle of induction, and the knowledge of them, that is, these other principles, has the same degree of certainty as the knowledge of the existence of sense data. If we remember from the chapter on knowledge by acquaintance and knowledge by description, Russell believed that we know our own sense data by acquaintance, but he didn't say that we only know our own sense data by acquaintance. He said there are other things that we know, and those other things he called abstract ideas or universals. That is, that there were concepts or ideas with which we were directly in contact with, acquainted with, in that immediate sense in which Russell believes we are acquainted with our sense data. And in this chapter, he is describing, well, first of all, describing some of those principles and how we come to be aware of them.